Man, I'm gonna be 100% honest. This don't sit well with me. I just don't understand why the vice president. I don't know, man. I just don't believe these people. These people that in politics, I think they are using this just to boost their portfolio, right? I just don't trust these people. The vice president, Al Sharpton. I don't know, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. This just don't sit well with me. It just don't sit well with me. Some of y'all might think differently, but I just think they are using this unfortunate situation to boost their stock, to make it seem like in the public eye like they really care. Y'all leave a comment down below, right? So I'm gonna play a little bit of the vice president speaking and Al Sharpton speaking. I don't know, man. Something about this just, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Reverend Dr. Lawrence Turner, thank you for welcoming us. Keisha Lance Bottom, Mitch Landrieu. We are here on behalf of the people of our country and our President Joe Biden. And we are here to celebrate the life of Tyre Nichols. Mrs. Wells, Mr. Wells, you have been extraordinary in terms of your strength, your courage, and your...
It's like they saying all the good things, but I just don't want to hear from them. I don't know, man. I'm just like, they didn't say nothing wrong in their speech, in their delivery, but I just don't want to hear from them. Like, these people, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Your grace. And we want...
Like, this funeral needs to be about Tyre. That's it. It shouldn't be about nothing else or nobody else. It should be about Tyre.
Mourn with you, and the people of our country mourn with you. And I I'm gonna be very brief. Mothers around the world, when their babies are born, pray to God, when they hold that child, that body and that life will be safe for the rest of his life. Yet we have a mother and a father who mourn the life of a young man who should be here today. They have a grandson who now does not have a father. His brothers and sister will lose the love of growing old with their baby brother. And when we look at this situation, this is a family that lost their son and their brother through an act of violence at the hands and the feet of people who had been charged with keeping them safe. And when I think about the courage and the strength of this family, I think it demands that we speak truth. And with this, I will say, this violent act was not in pursuit of public safety. It was not in the interest of keeping the public safe, because one must ask, was not it in the interest of keeping the public safe that Tyre Nichols would be with us here today? Was he not also entitled to the right to be safe? So when we talk about public safety, let us understand what it means in its truest form. Tyre Nichols should have been safe. So I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it.
See, it's just like I don't know, man. Tell me if I'm tripping. It's just like they are there and then they slide in their little campaign. They slide in their little advertising. They slide in their little promotion. It's like, I don't know, man. Am I tripping for feeling this way? Like, does anybody else feel this type of way about them being there? What she's saying, I'm not disagreeing what she's saying. Like, she's saying all the right things, right? That was a nice speech, and everything that she said, I agree with. It's just like, I don't believe you. You're a politician. You one of them. I don't believe you. You here for a purpose. You here for an alternative motive. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable. And with that, I'll just, Pastor, if you don't mind, one of my favorite verses in Scripture is Luke chapter 1, verse 79, which tells us God will help us to shine a light upon those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet in the way of peace. Let our memory of Tyre shine a light on the path toward peace and justice. Thank you.
She didn't say nothing. It's just, I don't know, man. Am I tripping? Is that wrong for me to even say that? It's just like, I just don't trust them, man. I don't trust people like this. Like, all of a sudden, they just show up out of nowhere. And then once this is over with, are you gonna see them again? Once this is done, are you gonna see them visiting the house, make sure that the mother is okay, make sure that the father is okay, make sure that the community is okay? Are they gonna do any follow-up? Nope. It's like they taking advantage of this unfortunate incident just to boost their stock. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I just don't believe these. Man, I don't believe them, man. Especially this dude right here. Man, Sharpton.
I went out to the Lorraine Motel. As a youngster, I joined SCLC, Operation Breadbasket.
I don't care.
I've been a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ.
This not about you. See, this ain't about you. We don't need to be knowing about your history. This ain't about you. A young man lost his life. This is not time for you to be going down your life story. Like, we not here for you. Like, this is what pisses me off. Like, why are you going, man? I don't know, man.
And my mother was concerned when I was 12 that I was getting too involved in looking at activism and Adam Clayton Powell and others. She took me to my Bishop F.D. Washington, who said, I know what to do with him. And he brought me to Reverend William Jones, who led Dr. King's organization in New York, and Reverend Jesse Jackson. And at 13, the year Dr. King died, I was 13 years old. I became youth director of the chapter in New York. So it was my growing up in the King movement in the North after his death that makes me come to the Lorraine Hotel and look at the spot that Dr. King died. This morning, I took my youngest daughter, Ashley, with me. And in all of the ice, I told the story of how Dr. King came to Memphis to fight for garbage workers, city employees that had no...
I get it. He said that just to transfer back to Memphis. I get it, but I don't know, man. This ain't sitting well. I just don't like these random people popping up and fake loving. I don't know. Maybe they do care. Maybe I don't. But I just don't trust these politicians, man. Me personally, if something like this was to happen to me and it was covered nationwide, I don't want y'all speaking at my funeral, man. I don't know you. I don't want you taking advantage just to, you know what I mean? I just. Knock on wood, right? I don't want anything like this to happen to me, but I'm just saying, man, this don't sit well with me, man.
Safety. 2 had been killed with a malfunction. And here we are, Ashley, 55 years later, looking at the balcony where Martin Luther King shed his blood for city workers, for black city workers, to be able to work in the police department, work in sanitation.
I get it.
And the reason why Mr. and Mrs. Wells, what happened to Tyre is so personal to me, is that 5 black men that wouldn't have had a job in the police department would not ever be thought of to be in an elite squad. In the city that Dr. King lost his life, not far away from that balcony, you beat a brother to death. There's nothing more insulting and offensive to those of us that fight to open doors, that you walk through those doors and act like the folks we had to fight for to get you through them doors.
I get it. I get it. I get
it. You didn't get on the police department by yourself. The police chief didn't get there by herself. People had to march and go to jail, and some lost their lives to open the doors for you. And how dare you?
I'm not disagreeing what he's saying. I'm actually agreeing with what he's saying, but it's just like I don't want to hear from you.
Act like that sacrifice was enough for nothing. You ain't in no New England state. You in Tennessee, where we had to fight for you. And you take that position and do what we saw, and then some of y'all got all this mess on social media. Let me tell you something. I don't know what you writing on social media. I know what I saw on the tape. And the tape speaks for itself. They never asked this man for his license. Never asked for the car registration. Snatched him out of the car and began beating him. Nobody mentioned nothing about no girlfriend. Nobody mentioned nothing about no man. They started beating an unarmed man. In the city that they slayed the dreamer, what has happened to the dream? In the city where the dreamer laid down and shed his blood, you have the unmitigated gall to beat your brother, chase him down and beat him some more, call for backup, and they take 20 minutes. And you watch him, and you are too busy talking among each other. No empathy, no concern. If you read the story of Joseph, when his brothers threw him in the pit, nobody came to help him, like nobody came to help Tyre. Waiting on ambulance service that didn't show up until it's too late. What will happen to his dream? Well, we'll just tell them something else happened, but we are going to throw him in the pit. But I come to Memphis today to tell you the same mistake Joseph's brothers made is a mistake you made. You thought you threw Joseph in a pit. You thought you threw Dr. King's dream in a pit. But every time you throw something in a pit, God takes the pit and raises it up and changes the whole world. Let me be clear. We understand that there are concerns about public safety. We understand that there's needs to deal with crime. But you don't fight crime by becoming criminals yourself. You don't stand up to thugs in the street becoming thugs yourself. You don't fight gangs by becoming 5 armed men against an unarmed man. That ain't the police, that's punks. Man said, I didn't do nothing. You kept on going anyhow.
I don't disagree with him. What he's saying, I agree with. I just don't want to hear from him.
Why do they go ahead? Because they feel that there is no accountability. They feel that we are going to get angry a day or two and then we're going on to something else. But some of us do this every day. Some of us believe in the dream has to come true. Some of us are going to fight until we make this legislation happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but we won't stop until we hold you accountable and change the system. Why do we want to see the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed? Because then you have to think twice before you beat Tyre Nichols. You think twice before you shoot at someone unarmed. You think twice before you chokehold Eric Garner. You think twice before you put your knee on Eric Garner's, on George Floyd's neck. Because if you don't have qualified immunity, your wife would be telling you before you leave home, behave yourself. Because we could lose the house, we could lose the car. Behave yourself, because our savings can be gone. You want to be a tough guy? Well, let's get rid of qualified immunity and see if you learn the same manners you have on the white side of town, you'll have some manners on the black side of town. Well, Reverend Al, you don't understand. How are they going to keep crime down in the black community and at the same time not be tough and rough? Well, they do it the same way they do it on the white side of Memphis, and they keep the crime down without being rough and tough. How do you have the same department that can keep crime down on one side of town without beating folk to death, but you can't do it on the other side of town unless you feel that you can get away with it there? I can't speak for everybody in Memphis. I can't speak for everybody gathering, but for me, I believe that that man had been white, you wouldn't have beat him like that night. We're not asking for nothing special. We're asking to be treated equal and to be treated fair. And just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years, from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act. We're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Remember how long? I don't know how long. They didn't know how long it would be when they boycotted in the 50s. It's not about a timetable. It's that we cannot continue to live under these double standards and under these conditions. We don't care how long, but I can tell you one thing. Those of you that keep voting against that bill, we're going to vote against you. We got more numbers than the police union. I believe that God will do for us what we'll do for ourselves. And even in the pit, Joseph never lost his faith. Joseph could have gave up. Joseph could have gave out, but in the pit, he still believed in the God of his fathers. And even as I stand over the casket of this innocent young boy, this young man, 39 years old, with a 4-year-old son that his mother and father and his siblings have to raise, I believe that God will take him, Tyre, out of that pit and use him as a symbol for justice all over this country. I believe that babies unborn will know about Tyre Nichols because we won't let his memory die. We're going to change this country because we refuse to keep living under the threat of the cops and the robbers. What touched me, I was raised by a single mother. Daddy left when I was 10. Mama raised my sister and I on welfare and food stamps. What touched me is when I heard him calling for his mother. Just like George Floyd is calling for his mother. Something you'd have to be a black man. The only thing between you and disaster was your mother. To understand what calling for your mother means. Somewhere deep in my heart, I understood Tyre.
I'm gonna stop it right here. And this is Tyre's mother and father, right? Why is the vice president sitting next to him? Like they don't have, he didn't have a brother or sister. Like where's his family? Like why does the vice president need to sit right next to the mother and the father? Like this looks calculated to me. This looks calculated. Y'all leave a comment down below. Why isn't the immediate family sitting next to the mom and the father? Why the vice president? What makes her so special? Just because she the vice president? She not their relative? Shouldn't the family relative, immediate family, be next to the mother and the father? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But y'all leave a comment down below. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't disagree with anything that they said during this speech. It just don't sit well with me. I just don't believe them. I just don't believe them. I think they are here for themselves. I think they are here for their political parties. I think they are here just to benefit themselves. I just don't trust them. Y'all leave a comment down below and y'all let me know, am I tripping or y'all feel the same way? I'm out, man.